Imagine walking into your bank, expecting nothing more than a routine transaction, only to find yourself humiliated, racially profiled, and surrounded by law enforcement. This was the devastating reality for Olivia Carter, a respected district attorney. When she visited a Wells Fargo branch, Olivia entered the bank that day with a simple goal: to cash a check. It was supposed to be an ordinary, uneventful task, but within minutes, the atmosphere shifted. What should have been a quick, straightforward visit spiraled into a distressing ordeal. Accusations were thrown without proof, assumptions made without justification, and suddenly, Olivia found herself in the middle of an experience that would alter her life forever. Olivia Carter wasn't just another customer. She was a highly accomplished district attorney, known for her integrity, intelligence, and commitment to justice. She had dedicated her career to holding even the most powerful individuals accountable. If there was anyone who understood the legal system and its flaws, it was her. She was the last person anyone would expect to face such blatant discrimination. On this particular afternoon, Olivia was on her lunch break when she stopped by her local bank branch to cash a check. This wasn't just any check. It was a substantial sum issued as part of a legal settlement from a recently closed case. With her check and identification in hand, Olivia stood patiently in line, having no reason to suspect anything unusual. As she stepped up to the counter and handed over her documents, the mood suddenly shifted. The young teller examined her ID for an uncomfortably long time, her expression shifting from neutrality to quiet suspicion. She glanced at the check, then back at Olivia, before mumbling, "Just a moment, ma'am." Without any further explanation, the teller walked away, disappearing into a back office. Minutes passed. Olivia, now uneasy, noticed two employees in the glass-walled office whispering and glancing in her direction. She exhaled sharply, realizing that something was wrong. A simple transaction was turning into an unnecessary delay. Finally, instead of the teller returning, a middle-aged branch manager, a man named Charles Warren, approached her. "Ms. Carter." Charles greeted her with a stiff smile, his tone professional yet laced with unmistakable skepticism. "Would you mind answering a few questions about this check?" Olivia lifted an eyebrow. "Of course. What seems to be the issue?" Charles glanced at the check and then at her ID. "Where did you get this? It's quite a large amount. Can you verify its legitimacy?" Olivia maintained her composure. "It's from a legal settlement. I can provide additional documentation if necessary. Also, my business card is right there. I'm a district attorney." But it was as if she hadn't spoken at all. Charles barely glanced at her credentials before shaking his head. "We have strict policies to prevent fraud," he said. "And frankly, something about this check doesn't look right." Olivia's patience began to wear thin. "So let me ask you this. What exactly doesn't look right to you? My ID? My profession? Or is it just me standing here?" Her words cut through the air like a blade. A hush settled over the lobby as customers nearby turned to listen. Charles hesitated, clearly uncomfortable, but instead of responding to her directly, he made a choice that would escalate the situation further. He picked up the phone and called the police. Olivia folded her arms across her chest, her jaw tightening. She had dealt with law enforcement countless times in her career, but this time, she wasn't in the courtroom. She was on the receiving end of suspicion and humiliation. Minutes later, two uniformed officers entered the bank, their posture rigid and wary. They approached Olivia as if she were already guilty of a crime, their hands hovering near their holsters. "Ma'am, we need you to step aside," one of the officers ordered. Olivia met their eyes with unshaken resolve. "Step aside for what? This check is legitimate. My ID is legitimate. I've done nothing wrong." The officers, however, weren't interested in explanations. One reached out as if to take hold of her arm, but Olivia instinctively pulled back. "Don't touch me," she said, her voice even but firm. "I am not resisting, but I know my rights." She took a steady breath and spoke clearly, ensuring everyone in the bank heard her next words. "Let me make myself perfectly clear. I am Olivia Carter, a district attorney. I know the law better than anyone in this room. What you're doing right now, attempting to detain me without cause, is illegal. Unless you have a valid reason to arrest me, I suggest you let me go." A heavy silence filled the bank. Charles Warren shifted uncomfortably behind the counter, his face pale. He hadn't expected Olivia to stand her ground so firmly, let alone assert such a powerful identity. But the damage was done. Olivia had been humiliated, accused, and nearly detained, all because of unfounded suspicion. The officers exchanged glances. They had no cause to arrest her, and they knew it. Without another word, they stepped back, and after a moment of tense deliberation, they left the bank. Olivia, however, wasn't going to let this go unanswered. The very next day, she took the first step towards seeking justice. She filed a lawsuit against Wells Fargo, citing racial discrimination, wrongful accusations, and emotional distress. This wasn't just about her. Olivia knew she wasn't the first person to experience this kind of treatment, and she wouldn't be the last. Her mission was clear: to expose the systemic bias embedded within corporate policies and hold those responsible accountable. Her legal team, composed of highly skilled attorneys who shared her passion for justice, got to work. They gathered evidence, uncovering disturbing patterns of racial profiling within the bank's practices. Records revealed that customers of color were disproportionately flagged for fraud investigations, even when their documentation was in perfect order. More individuals came forward with their own experiences. An elderly teacher denied access to her account. A small business owner accused of check forgery simply because of the amount. The courtroom became a stage for undeniable truth. Olivia took the stand, delivering a powerful testimony. "This isn't just about me," she said, her voice steady yet charged with emotion. "This is about every person who has been unfairly judged, humiliated, or denied their rights because of their race. It's about justice, about ensuring no one else has to go through what I did." Her words resonated. Other victims testified, painting a stark picture of discrimination masked under corporate policies. The bank's legal defense claimed it was an isolated incident, but the mounting evidence made their argument weak. The patterns of discrimination, the emotional testimonies, and Olivia's unwavering resolve left no room for doubt. The trial was long and emotionally exhausting, but Olivia never wavered. She understood what was at stake, not just for herself, but for countless others. And in the end, the jury's decision was unanimous. Wells Fargo was found guilty of racial discrimination. Olivia was awarded millions in damages. But for her, the victory wasn't about the money. It was about making a statement. Discrimination, no matter where it comes from, will not go unchallenged. How many more untold stories like Olivia's exist? How many people suffer in silence, believing they have no power to fight back? Her journey serves as a reminder that standing up for oneself and others can lead to real, meaningful change. Have you ever experienced something similar or know someone who has? Share your story below. Let's open this conversation and work together toward justice. And if you found Olivia's journey inspiring, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more stories that matter.